And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 4, episode 16. 16 episodes in already. We are now in December, and we are officially rolling, folks, in the season. We've had a great start to the year, incredible games in November. And what I thought would be fun to do today is the D3 Datacast guys, Matt and Zach, identify every week a game of the week. And this week, that game is Hampden-Sydney at Guilford. And what I thought would be kind of fun is to get the two head coaches from those great programs together to do a little preview QCast show of the big game coming up tomorrow, actually, Saturday at 4:30 Eastern time. Really excited to have with me on the QCast Tom Palombo, the head men's basketball coach at Guilford, and Caleb Kimbrough, the head men's basketball coach at Hampden-Sydney. Tom, first for you. It is great to meet you. I don't think we've met along the way in Division III, which is amazing to me. But I really appreciate you taking time to do this. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me and Caleb on. It'll be fun.
It sure will be. And Caleb, you were part of a QCast coaching panel last year during the NCAA tournament where we previewed some of the games. So we've interacted just a little bit. You're off to a great start, Caleb. How are you doing?
Doing really well. Yeah, I feel like I learned more and more about Illinois Wesleyan. Your show's following you, Bob, so I'm enjoying that.
That's awesome. That I really appreciate that. And let me just there's another element to this QCast that's really fun, which is that Caleb played for Tom at Guilford and coached with Tom. And so we've got one of these teacher pupil matchups. And Tom, did you ever think when you were recruiting this guy that someday he'd be rolling in the number 2 team in the country to your place? Did that ever cross your mind?
Guy, he's a special guy. Having him, I tell people having him in practice, we do a simple, we call it fundamental lines. We'd add a little defender to it, and he would try to just dominate that drill and every other drill we ever had. So never had a guy like that do that all the time. So I'm not surprised by his success at all.
And Caleb, on your end, it's got to be pretty cool coming back to your alma mater. Such a great program in a game with high stakes like this. I mean, what's it like to go back and face Tom and your alma mater, and what are the thoughts on that side of things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun because we've done it for a few years now where we've played each other. Well, every year we play each other twice because it's either been once in the regular season and once in the tournament, or twice in the regular season. But yeah, it's funny. To me, it's a little bit funny. It's like the 99% of what I do is what I've learned from coach, and we always tweak it and whatnot. But and it's also funny because I called him when I was thinking about getting into coaching, and he was like, don't do it to be with your family, don't do it. No, but no, it's fun, man. And I'm excited to go back to Greensboro. I think we got some of my former teammates coming into town that were big time Division III players, so that's really exciting too. So it's always a good time.
Let me give everyone just a little snapshot. I think everyone tuning into the QCast knows both of these guys, but just a really quick snapshot. First, Coach Palombo, a Virginia Wesleyan grad. He's a D3 guy through and through. This is Tom's 21st season at Guilford, 32nd year as a head coach. Tom has 610 wins, and 372 of those were at Guilford. He's 215 and 87 in the ODAC, which is crazy. We'll talk about the ODAC and how special it is. Last year, Guilford was 22 and 6 and 13 and 3. Got left at the Pool C table in a little bit of a controversial one. We'll talk a little bit about resumes and Pool C and stuff maybe before we close. Tom's been to 11 NCAA tournaments with the Quakers, 6 Elite Eights, 2 Final Fours. Tom, you're one of the most well-known, most successful coaches in Division III. Your program is always great. I always like to ask coaches, is this one of those, like, where have the years gone when you start to hear some of those numbers and accolades and things? Is it amazing sometimes how fast the years go by?
No, it's making me feel like I should be retired saying all that stuff. I'm at the end of mine, and Caleb's just at the beginning. He's going to get ready to do all this kind of stuff. So it makes me feel old, actually.
Tom, you had both of these teams have had like a huge signature win already this year. Guilford is 5-0 on the season, and that includes an OT win against Emory on November 18th. I have Emory. I have both of your programs way up on my top 25 ballot, and I have Emory way up on my. I think they are phenomenal. Tom, I'm just curious, that overtime game, which really could have almost been a 2 overtime game. What was that game like, and what did that win mean for you guys?
I mean, it was an unbelievable game. There's so many big swings in the game. And you're right. Emory is, there's not many weaknesses on that team. They've got just about everything you could ask for in size and quickness and shooting ability and inside, outside and defensive presence and length. And yeah, we were fortunate, it was just, like you said, it was almost another overtime because that last shot was basically in the basket and then kind of spun out. So
It was.
it was a great game. And Jay's a close friend of mine. We've talked since then and about everything. And it was I think it made both our teams better. And yeah, they're a juggernaut for sure.
Yeah, it was a great game. I went back and watched that on demand. It was a fantastic game. It was a huge win, as you know, Tom, in terms of how the regional rankings work. You're in Region 6 with Emory. And when you get that head-to-head win like that, it's not an end-all be-all, but it's a very big factor in how things play out. I mean, is that something you and your guys are thinking about at all before a game like that, of just kind of the longer-term significance, or are you just more focused on the game at hand at the time?
No, I'll be honest with you. It's just focused on a game at hand. I mean, we beat them by 14 at their place last year, and we didn't get in. So, I mean,
That's right.
But I don't know. We don't really look at it that way in Division III. And I've been on those committees. It's just everyone's all over the place as far as the criteria. It changes yearly. I think yearly, but sometimes daily, maybe as to how that goes down. So, I mean, that's so far off into the future. We were a couple games in. We're just trying to get better.
Yeah, it's a great point that you guys won at Emory last year. There was all kinds of weird stuff. I think Barry had won at Emory. So the way that Region 6 was ranked was a little bit controversial, I would say. Caleb, just want to give everyone a snapshot on what Caleb has been building. This is his 5th year at Hampden-Sydney. Before this, he spent time at Huntington College in Alabama. I believe, Caleb, were you there 3 years as the head coach at Huntington?
I was there 3 years. Yep.
Did a great job of turning around that program very quickly. Last year at Hampden-Sydney, Caleb's team was 22-7 overall, 14-2 in the ODAC. He made it to the NCAA second round in a really, really nasty and tough bracket. This is the most win. That was the most wins at Hampden-Sydney since 12-13, and the first NCAA appearance. So a very proud, successful program that is coming back in a big way. Caleb was the ODAC Bob Johnson Coach of the Year last year. Used to be a head coach with Coach Palombo at Guilford, as we mentioned at the beginning. He was an assistant at Washington and Lee in 9-10. And he started, now this is where we get back to his playing days, at Guilford. He started a school record 108 games for Coach Palombo, which is amazing. Caleb, you also have a monster win on your schedule already, and it was like you guys didn't fool around here. It was the first game of the season. You hosted the defending champs, number 1 at the time, Christopher Newport, and you won that game pretty handily. I mean, 74-53. It got everyone's attention. What was the big win at home against Christopher Newport like?
Yeah, it was an exciting game. I can tell you that. It was a packed house, and I give a lot of credit to the type of environment you can have at Hampden-Sydney. The students will come out, the community will come out. So that definitely helped us having a home game. I also think, I mean, we had played them twice, and we beat them at their place without their big, and they come back and they play us in the tournament with their big, and he's able to make adjustments. And then in this first game, we looked at the film and we tried to make adjustments. So I think when you go back and forth like that, you can kind of, have maybe a slight advantage. But I thought those guys were really good, and we just jumped on them with a ton of energy. I mean, they just won the national championship.
Right.
They're coming back like, oh, let's just, we have this sense of urgency. Like, oh, when we got bounced by Guilford in the ODAC tournament, and we got bounced by them in the NCAA tournament, and we have a veteran group. So I thought we just had a really great sense of urgency in that game, and we were able to carry it through 40 minutes, but it was definitely an exciting game to prepare for the first game of the season. It's like it was kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I hadn't had that type of experience. It felt like we were mid-season after that game, like type of environment and that kind of thing. So it was fun.
Caleb, when you played at Guilford, I was trying to piece together the years. I believe that towards the very end of your career, I think Ben Strong was part of your teams, and maybe like Rhett Bonner. And remind me some of those guys that were your teammates there at Guilford.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I was very lucky. So I went to high school with Ben and middle school, high school, and then played college ball together. And he was a National Player of the Year. But then Tyler Sanborn,
yes,
who was former head coach at Ferrum and former assistant at Hampden-Sydney, and Tyler was the National Player of the Year after Ben.
Right.
Rhett Bonner transferred in when I was there from, I think, Presbyterian, I think it was, and it was an immediate impact. Like, that never happens. He came in at Christmas and was like a stud right away. Clay Henson. There were a lot of really talented players on those teams. I didn't have to do much. I just play defense, and I turned it over. I should have said play defense, not turn it over, but I played defense. Yeah.
You were a great player there, and you had talent, and then that group led to a couple Final Fours for Tom in 9 and 10. Those were special teams, special players. As we look to this season, guys, I'd like to first talk to you a little bit about your league. The ODAC has always been one of the best leagues in Division III, and I guess maybe I'll start out with you, Tom. It seems to me, and then Caleb, I'll get your take on this. It seems to me like the ODAC is about as good as ever the last several years. You think of the Hampton or the Randolph-Macon run and those groups that they have had, and you look at the league this year where you've got, Hampden-Sydney's ranked number 2 at 5-0. You guys, Tom, are 5-0, ranked number 11. Virginia Wesleyan, your alma mater's ranked 21, 6-1. You have Randolph-Macon, Ferrum 6-0, Shenandoah 6-0. Like, the league and many other great teams. Where do you see, Tom, the ODAC kind of right now versus historically where it's been? Does it seem like it's just outstanding lately?
It is, and I think it's more top to bottom. Maybe back when Caleb played, it was a little top heavy from time to time. But now it's like you said, when you rattled off those teams, and you didn't mention Washington League.
Yeah.
Washington League really,
right.
They were NCAA tournament team last year. I felt like with the quality team that they had. So I think more, and Roanoke as well.
Yeah.
I think top to bottom now it is as good as it's ever been. Caleb obviously has a special team with all the seniors, and you could see it coming 3 years ago. I told people when I think we played them and they were like the 7th seed in the tournament. I was like, man, he's building a monster, and you could see that coming from a ways away. So now we've got some really good teams at the top, but the middle to quote unquote bottom, and the only reason why at the bottom is because somebody's got to be there. Yeah, this team's really good. Really good.
And Caleb, just talk a little more about that. The ODAC currently is rated as the number 2 league in Division III men's basketball per the Massey computer poll, just behind the UAA, which is loaded again this year. What's your take, Caleb, on what you're seeing from your conference and how deep and tough it is?
Yeah, I guess in preparation for the reason we schedule Christopher Newport or try to go up to different tournaments and played Widener and even Rolls Holman was a good team. It is to prepare because we know I feel like every game is going to be a dogfight in the league, and it's the way our league is now. Before we used to play every team twice when I was a player.
Right
now we play some twice, some once, according to the rotation. And yeah, I think it's as deep as I can remember. I can't think of an off night. Yeah, I think you have just a lot of really good coaches that do their homework. And then you have, now with transfers, you got teams like Ferrum's bring in different bodies every year. And Pat's done a good job of getting them on the same page quickly. And those guys you get some unpredictability, and you get the guys that have done it maybe the same way for a while that works. And you're going to be in some battles. So it's exciting. I think it's really exciting. I mean, we beat up on each other a little bit, but I think it makes us all better. And when you see these teams go on to the tournament, they're usually going on runs.
It is. It's truly one of the elite leagues in the country. You've got like the UAA. It seems like the last 2 years in particular has been especially deep, to where you go all the way down to the eighth team in the UAA, and those are really good teams. Historically, the WIAC, the CCIW, the NESCAC. I mean, these are leagues, the ODAC, that are just so fun to follow, because they don't just have good teams at the top that are in the top 25 poll, but as you guys mentioned, the ODAC has depth going all the way down, and it's just a fun league to follow. As we talk about the game tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern time at Guilford, so in Greensboro. Not a terribly long commute. I think it's an hour, or it's 130 miles. So, 2 hours, 20 minutes ish. And Caleb, let's start with your guys first. We mentioned that you guys are sitting at 5-0. You're 1-0 in the league. And as I'm looking at your stats, you guys are incredibly balanced. That's the thing that sticks out to me. You've got Davidson Hubbard averaging 13 a game, along with 7 rebounds and 8 assists, which is crazy. Adam Brazil, 10 points. Ryan Clements, 9. Alex Elliott, 8. Josiah Hardy, 8. DJ Wright, 7. We could kind of keep going down. It doesn't fall off that much. You're holding opponents to 369 field goal, which is crazy, and 58 points a game. Your rebound margin is +9. Caleb, talk a little bit, if you would, about your Hampden-Sydney team this year, which looks really deep and really balanced.
Yeah, I feel like I got pretty lucky recruiting a group of guys that won, 4 years ago, that all stayed together. And then I think it's rare when you tell somebody, hey, you got to come off the bench. Maybe that's your role for 4 years, or maybe you don't even get to play a lot, or you were a scorer, you scored all these points, but now I need you to rebound and defend. I don't know. I'd like to say we did our research in recruiting, and Bryson Gibson, one of my assistants, Carson Long, now a Guilford guy, they do a phenomenal job finding the right type of players with me. But it's got lucky having like some selfless guys stick around. And now I think we have a team with some fifth year guys and some really hungry seniors that are selfless. I mean, so I think on every team you see, as the older you get, it turns more into wanting to win, not so much individual statistics or whatever the case is. And we have a very large veteran group. So I think what you see is that all these guys that have got their mind on the right thing. And shoot, half the time we're in practice, I don't feel like I'm coaching half the time. They're talking and they're taking over. I learned some of that from, I think, being with Coach Palombo, not trying to, when your guys, when they're good and they know what's going on, you could overdo it. And so we try to not make it too complex, and, we try to do simple stuff pretty well, and let those guys lead. And it's a special group. I mean, it's a really special group of guys.
Tom, I'm just curious, as an opposing coach, sometimes you'll have an opponent come in with a superstar player that's averaging 25 points a game, and then it falls off to someone that's averaging 8. When you're coaching against a team as balanced as Hampden-Sydney is this year, is that tougher than going against the superstar guy? I'm just curious as your take of going against such a deep and balanced team like he has.
Oh, 100% more difficult. When you're just trying to, shut down one aspect or one player, not that it's easy, but let's say it's a little simpler as far as what you're doing. But when you have, you go against a team where, you got 6, 7 different kind of guys, 8 guys, and there's all different aspects to that. I mean, every mistake you make, you're going to pay for. So just trying to prepare and, in those situations, try to execute as best you can, knowing that sometimes you're going to do it really well and they're still going to score.
Right.
And that makes it difficult.
Talking about your team a little bit, Tom, Guilford this year, we mentioned, is 5-0. You haven't played a league game yet, so this is your league opener. And you're also really, really deep and balanced. Now, you do have a guy that jumps off the page at 26 points a game, and Tyler Dearman, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. So that's pretty unbelievable. Julius Birch, 12 points a game, 7 rebounds. Caleb Farish, I saying his name right? I hate saying people.
Yep.
Farish.
Yep.
Farish at 10-6. Rob Littlejohn 9, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Gabe Proctor and Luke Proctor. Are these I think they're different years, so I assume these are brothers. Are they? They're
They are
not
brothers.
twins.
Yep,
Are they
they're brothers.
twins? Just brothers.
Not
Okay.
twins. One's a junior, one's a sophomore.
I thought so. Okay. I didn't know, nowadays with the COVID years and
Right.
things, when you see years, you have no idea. So,
That's right.
so Gabe and Luke, 9-2 for Gabe. Luke is 6 points. Luke's the starter. Gabe comes off the bench. Another thing I wanted to ask about with your crew, Tom, is you have a very veteran crew here. You've got, let's see, 3 grad students, junior, sophomore, junior. Talk a little bit about the construction here of your team, Tom. It looks like a very deep, very balanced, and very veteran crew that you're trotting out.
Yeah, just like Caleb said, having Julius and Tyler are my 2 fifth-year guys that have been here, and they basically run practice, coach the team, do the huddles. I mean, they just know this stuff, inside and out. They know their teammates really well. They know how we want to play. They've just been a great it's been fun having them, and it's rare, obviously now in the COVID time or whatever, having someone or people around for 5 years is it's a long time. And I'm glad they're not sick of me, because I'm sure that's the way it could have went. And they may be, but they hide it really well if they are. But those guys are great leaders, fun to be with every day. And yeah, we have a good time with those guys. But yeah, they, just like Caleb said, they pretty much run the show. I'm along for the ride.
And Caleb, went just kind of a similar question for you, is in preparing for Guilford and all the talent and the depth and all the experience that they have. I know you're not going to give us your scout here, but and I'm sure there's probably no surprises with what your scout is, but what your thought just kind of going into a game facing a team as deep and talented as Guilford is.
We're gonna run zone for 40 minutes. It's gonna be all zone.
Triangle and 2 a little bit, maybe somewhere in there.
No, yeah, it's kind of funny because you watch, if there's anything I've learned, I feel like in my, TP watches maybe as much film as I've ever seen in my life, and I've tried to carry that as much as I can, because it doesn't lie, and it's, it's like there's no this crazy complex, what each other's gonna do, right? But you still got to stop it. I mean, you got to play the game, and I'm sure both of us are going to have some tweaks here and there, like Coach said. But at the end of the day, one, it comes down to the rebound in our games a lot of time. To be honest with you, I mean, it is a bloodbath. So I'll be interested to see.
Right.
The play is going to be very, very, very physical. It's been like that every time we played. And yeah, too. I mean, obviously those guys are cohesive. the games are a lot of fun when we play each other. I mean, I don't know for the spectator. I can't tell if it's fun for the spectator because we don't usually, it's usually not a track meet. It's a knock drag out in the half court a lot of times. But I'm excited. Dearman's been lighting it up, and he's tough, but it's not like you can. I mean, those other guys can really hurt you as well. So, I mean, they're veterans. We're gonna have to play really hard on the road. And TP turns. I mean, if you watch the live stream, he turns half the lights out on the visitor side, so you can't even see the basket when you're at Guilford. So we got to talk to somebody about this, but see how that goes.
Tom, I want to ask you about rebounding and how physical. Like Hampden-Sydney on the season is +9 per game on the boards, and you guys are +5. You're both great rebounding teams, and I don't think the average fan realizes how physical Division III basketball is. I went up to the Great Lakes Invitational at Wittenberg to watch my alma mater, Illinois Wesleyan, play Wittenberg and Marietta, and in the same building, I'm watching Kelvin and Oshkosh and Redlands and all these great teams. And I'm just like, when I watch streams, I live in Dallas, Texas, so most of my viewing is on stream. But when I go to the game, at some point early in the game, I always turn to the person next to me and say, like, I cannot believe how physical this is. And the ODAC, like this game tomorrow, would be the best example of that. Like, how physical do you expect a game like this to be, Tom?
Yeah, it will be. And just back to your original point, going to people that who just think Division III basketball or have whatever perceptions, they need to come and sit in the front row and watch some of the guys and how these guys can play, and not just, their skill, their athleticism, their basketball IQ. There may not be 5 guys out there who can all dunk and whatever, but there's 5 guys out there who know how to play basketball, and at the highest level, like in our league, it's fun to watch, and people don't realize that. But yeah, tomorrow, it's like Caleb said, there's no secrets. I mean, we played each other for however long, and it's not changed much. It's going to be a physical battle, and normally does come down to the rebounding and shot making. Obviously, I think it's a factor in every game that you play, but certainly the physicality of rebounding will be a key.
And Caleb, just wanted to ask you to build on what Tom said just about the level of play in Division III. I had Jason Zimmerman from Emory on the QCast a few weeks ago, and he had just a great little snippet line that I just keep tweeting out when some kid makes a good play. He basically said, we talk about YD3 hashtag. Well, YD3 because it's good basketball. He kept saying it's just good basketball. Caleb, your take. You're a D3 guy. You played Division III. You're coaching Division III. Your take on kind of the caliber of play and student athlete in Division III hoops.
Yeah, I think you get a guy that's has got a chip, because nobody goes through high school saying I'm going to play Division III basketball. I mean, I didn't. If there's anybody that should have said that, it should have been me. I'm thinking I could play anywhere. So I think a lot of times you get guys that are, not a couple inches shorter, maybe not all the time, a couple inches short. I don't know. You get guys that have a chip on their shoulder, and then they go somewhere where they can play immediately as opposed to just chasing something that's not there. I think you see them develop at a different rate. And then that IQ, like you're talking about, there's a lot of good players out there. I mean, yeah, I love D3 basketball. And we were fortunate enough when I was a player to be able to play together in this summer league. Well, we were able to play, I think only 3 Division I players from a team could play on a team, but, people would time and time again, just be taken aback by how are you beating these guys? Well, we're playing like a team, it's not just all ISO ball and we're going to block you out every shot. You have to fight for it. So I just think you have these guys that really love the game, but also have a lot more ability than you think. A lot more. I mean, Ben Strong was a good example. Ben was a really good high school player, but he went to Guilford. He probably wouldn't have played if he went Division I. I knew he got go prep and then go Division I or something like that. And he probably would have been a way different route, but he went somewhere where he got the ball every time.
Right.
Every time. He was a black hole, every time. And he should have. And then it turned him into a 9-year professional career. Right. Tyler Sanborn, the same type of deal. I think, I think you can get that nowadays, and people should take note. As long as the Division III school you're going to is affordable, good players should be wow, I can really get the most out of what I can do at these places, as opposed to just, chasing whatever it is you're chasing, which a lot of times is just somebody else telling you, oh,
right.
Yeah, D1's better than, D2 or D3. It's man, a lot of good levels of basketball. Go where you're wanted. You can get the most out of what you're doing.
Very, very well said. And I appreciate that from both of you guys. I want to be respectful of your time. You got a big game tomorrow to prep for. Let's just do a little, I'll ask you both the same question, loaded question, the keys to a victory tomorrow and what is a crazy great game. Again, it's the D3datacast.com game of the week. Number 2, Hampden-Sydney at number 11, Guilford. Tom, how about you're the home team? So I'm going to ask you first. Give us a couple keys to that game tomorrow, so as we're all watching it live, we know what to look for.
Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on it. It just boils down to the rebounding aspect of things on both ends. I think, just being able to establish position, hold position. Both teams are going to be aggressive defensively. It's going to be, the cliche knockdown drag out for sure.
Thank you, Tom. And Caleb, how about on your end? Keys to the game tomorrow for the road team.
I think a big part of it is the lights in the gym.
The lighting has come up again.
If we come to the gym and the lighting is where it needs.
I told him bring his flashlights. Bring his flashlights down there.
No, I think, those core guys, man, you gotta make sure you're really physical with those guys. Like Coach said, man, you gotta block out some. And I don't want any little bit I give coach, he's going to run with and turn it against me. So I just got to know what's going on, make sure our guys are confident and going in there playing with confidence against these guys.
Well, I really appreciate it. I know that people are going to enjoy watching this QCast. It's a cool thing with the kind of the pupil teacher kind of element of it, not to just to mention how great both of these programs and teams are this year. It's an exciting game that D3 Nation is looking forward to watching on the stream tomorrow, guys. 4:30 Eastern time for everybody. Caleb Kimbrough, Tom Palombo, thank you so much for your time today on the QCast, and look forward to having you back again to talk sometime real soon. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and good luck tomorrow, gentlemen.
Yeah, first of all, I want to just say, you say the teacher pupil. I'll tell you this in honesty. I've probably learned more from Caleb than he learned from me as a player and competitiveness and watching him build the program. So I just wanted to put that out there. But thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Tom. Caleb, any final thoughts on your end?
Yeah, I thought this was really cool, Bob. Thank you. Anytime I get to, do something together like this with coach, it's a lot of fun. And thank you, man, for highlighting D3 hoops. It means a whole lot to us, even though you might not hear it all the time. I hope you hear it a good amount, and we appreciate that, man.
No, it's fun, guys, and I'll keep it up. There's a lot of great content out there nowadays. Dave McHugh's been doing amazing work on Hoopsville for all these years, and you got the DataCast and things that D3 Direct is doing. There's just a lot of great stuff out there nowadays to highlight our level. Guys, thank you. Can't thank you enough for your time, and good luck to both of you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, guys.